The Dean Gardens was once a steep, grassy slope running alongside the Water of Leith, on the north side where the sheep safely grazed, but is now an idyllic garden hidden away at the centre of Edinburgh under the majestic Dean Bridge, a Thomas Telford masterpiece, completed in 1831 to span the gorge. Previously, the river had a ford and later a single arch stone bridge, which you can still use at the foot of Bell's Brae in the Dean village. John Learmonth, owner of the Dean estate on the north bank of the river, part-funded the Dean Bridge to create easier access to the town over the gorge at Randolph Cliff, which enabled house building on the north side. He also purchased the 7 acres which now comprise the Dean Gardens, with the intention to build onto them. However, local residents persuaded his son, Colonel Learmonth, to protect the open space temporarily by granting them a 12-year lease, and during this time they began to raise funds for its purchase. 99 households from the streets around contributed to the cost of buying the land, creating the gardens and ensuring their upkeep, and they were opened in 1867. The debt was not paid off until 1891, as it was a substantial sum equivalent to £1.8 million today. This impressive community feat has led to this enduring legacy so near to the centre of the city. Architects John Dick Peddy and James McNabb designed the layout of the gardens with 2 terraces joined by little paths and steps to create delightful viewpoints over the Dean Valley, and a further path which runs parallel to the river at the bottom of the slope. The gardens descend steeply to the river and have remained largely unchanged today, as an urban oasis. The original Victorian wooden pavilion was burnt down, but this has been restored and the former tennis court has been replaced by a children's play area. Sadly, the 12 elm trees on the middle path succumbed to Dutch elm disease some 20 years ago and had to be removed, but they have been replaced by beech trees, which are particularly beautiful in spring and autumn. The Dean Gardens has chosen to keep a natural semi-wild aesthetic, and this has a fine collection of over 270 trees, shrubs and herbaceous plants. In spring, it is swathed in daffodils, followed by bluebells and many spring flowering shrubs. From the east, you can look across to the classical temple by Alexander Naismith of 1789, which houses the mineral spring of the St Bernard's Well. There is a story that a monk, believed to be Bernard of Clairvaux, discovered that this natural spring possessed curative powers when he camped nearby preparing for a crusade. It was rediscovered in the 1760s and became a popular destination for the ill and infirm, who would find places to stay in nearby Stockbridge. A wealthy lawyer commissioned Naismith to design the temple and charged visitors a penny per glass of the restorative waters. In later years, they were bottled and sold by city chemists. The original statue of Hygiena, the goddess of health, was replaced in 1888 by a new statue in Carrara marble by David Watson Stevenson. In 1956, city health officials found the water was contaminated, so the well is now open only on certain days during the year to visitors wishing to admire the decorative mosaic interior. One can pause under the magnificent Dean Bridge and wonder at the construction of the arches soaring above. The bridge was one of the last major works of Thomas Telford, and it towers 32 metres above the river and is 136 metres long. It was constructed from stone quarried from Craigleith and has hollow piers to save on cost and weight. Pedestrians were charged a penny to cross at the toll gate, and it was opened to horse and cart traffic in 1834. From the west of the garden, there is a viewpoint to the Dean Village Weir, and there are remnants of former mill buildings all along the river. The river water was harnessed by weirs and mill races to drive the water wheels of mills at over 70 sites along the river, including the medieval Dean village. The grain mills were known as the breadbasket of Edinburgh and survived until the rise of the giant flour mills of the later 19th century. Nature certainly makes its presence felt. Squirrels and birds of many species abound in the quiet of the Dean Gardens and by the river, and you may spot a kingfisher, heron, wagtail, dipper, or merganser amongst the mallards. Even otters have been seen on occasion, now the waters of Leith are so much cleaner. The joy of the Dean Gardens is the feeling of solitude that it can engender. Walk the bottom path of the gardens alongside the water of Leith and enjoy the peace and tranquility. Stop and stand and absorb the ambience. You would never imagine that you are less than a mile from the busiest street in Scotland's city capital. Walk there and be thankful that Colonel Learmonth and the original residents of the area had the foresight to preserve such a wonderful green space at the beating heart of our magnificent city.